Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here on WDBJ 7 Plus. I'm Michaela Shelton, joined by Kate Capodanno today. Hello, Kate. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining us. I wanted to have you on because you have been working really hard on a Target 7 report for us, an investigative piece about infant mortality rates in our area. So I just want to start off by asking, what made you want to look deeper into this?
So I would say that this story started in maybe a different way than you might expect. I actually found out there was a new birthing center that opened here in the city of Roanoke just this past summer. Since they opened in August, they've already had 9 babies born, and
Wow.
I was able to talk to one of the first babies, one of the first moms who gave birth there at the resort. So that was kind of what got me looking into, okay, this is a really cool option. I feel like there are more options than ever when it comes for people wanting to figure out how they want to start their families. And I feel like women are more empowered now to choose how they want their birth experience to go. And this is just another option for them here in Roanoke City. But as I started to look at some other things, I knew Virginia had really taken an initiative recently within the last few years to put a focus on maternal and child health. And one of those things was updating these dashboards that collect all of this data. And part of those dashboards and part of that data is infant mortality. So I started looking at that and saw there were quite a few infant mortality rates in our hometowns that took me by surprise. And so I was like, okay, I got into this topic about birth and these young parents and these young mothers wanting to start these beautiful lives, but there are some families that might not have the access or are more vulnerable than others, and what are the options out there for them?
Right. Yes, it's so important because, as you are becoming a new mother, it's overwhelming. It can be. And, it's good to know where to go and what to be aware of. And so once you started digging into those numbers, were you surprised at all by what you saw originally?
Yes, I would say there's this beautiful interactive map on the VDH platform for the maternal and child health indicators dashboard. And as you scroll over some of our hometowns, I scrolled over Floyd County, Grayson County, and saw that the infant mortality rate, and let's explain what the infant mortality rate is. It's the number of infants who die before the age of 1, before they hit that first birthday, per 1,000 live births. So this is meant to make it so that it's easier to compare numbers across different areas. So the infant mortality rate for Floyd and Grayson counties was about 20. And for me, I was like, why are these areas hitting such high rates? So that stood out to me. And that's because the infant mortality rate here across Virginia is usually around 5.8 to 6.2 in the years that have been tracked by VDH. So when I saw, okay, we're sitting at 5.8 for the year of 2023, but these two counties have an infant mortality rate of almost 20, I was like, what is going on here? So that's what made me kind of go, okay, I need to figure out why these numbers are so high and what's causing this sort of, challenge for these areas.
Right. Yeah. And that's what your special kind of takes a look at. We don't want to give too much away because it aired yesterday, but it's also on our website as well if you happen to miss it. But what can people, expect and learn as well from the report that you did?
Yeah. So I think one of the big things to learn is that infant mortality rate in some of those areas that you might be shocked to see some of those numbers, well, it's only a few deaths and only a few live births. So in like Grayson and Floyd counties, they only have about 100 and change live births every year. So if they even have one infant death within that year, it is going to count against them. It's going to increase that rate very dramatically.
Okay.
But one spot that I looked at, Michaela, that I was a little bit more surprised by was Roanoke County. They had a much higher infant mortality rate, and they have many more live births in this area. And some people might say, okay, Roanoke County is close to a lot of things when it comes to access. There are very rural parts, but there's also this connection to things that you would be surprised to see these numbers so high. And I would say the health director for this area too was surprised when she saw that 2023 data come out and said, why do we have such a high rate? Because she said for Roanoke County it was about 14.8, so nearly 15 babies per 1,000 live births was the rate for Roanoke County. So that was surprising. And I think one thing that people might be able to learn from this is that okay, there are ways and there are resources out there to maybe help prevent some of these deaths, but you might be wondering, okay, is there a connection between these deaths as well?
Right. Yeah. And that's exactly what I wanted to talk about are the resources as well. I know you mentioned, the Department of Health and, you went to the director there. How can people, get to these resources and what are some that could help maybe expecting mothers or people who are moms already as well?
Okay, so there is a plethora of resources, and what VDH says a lot of times is that your zip code can be a better predictor of your health outcome than your genetic code. I heard it from Dr. Cynthia Morrow in the Roanoke City Allegheny Health Districts, but also I heard it from Dr. Bissell down in the New River Health District. They say, depending on where you live, you either can be more successful in your health outcomes because you have better access to things, or it might be more challenging for you. And so for the two of them, and for many of our public health people, they want to make sure that people can get access to things. And so for right here in Roanoke City, I was able to go to one of their safe sleep classes. So that's to help teach expecting families how to better prepare their rooms so that they can have a safe sleep environment for their children. They also have car seat classes to teach families exactly how they need to clip in those car seats and how, when their child grows, how they might need to adapt and maybe change those car seats as well as the child gets older. So there's ways to kind of do those preventable death things that VDH is really trying to educate people about, because that education can be so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, there are so many things to know when you have a little one and you want to just protect them the best you can. And, some people don't have those influences in their life or people to go to. So that's great information there. And there's a lot more information within the story and on our website as well that people are welcome to check out. But was there anything else you wanted to touch on or add before we head to break?
Yeah. So, Michaela, I think it's important to note that in Roanoke County, when we're talking about some of those bigger rate, I do want to give people some perspective on that. Even though it was like a 15 infant death mortality rate per 1,000 live births, the number of children who died within that year was 11 in 2023. Still a shocking number for Dr. Cynthia Morrow. But one of the big things she said is that she's trying to see the connections, and so I hope people watch the story to see that, okay, she wasn't able to find an exact cause, but she said there is a similarity between some of those cases, and that is revealed in this story on WDBJ7.com.
Okay, yeah, very interesting, and will be good information to know. So thank you so much for your work that you've done on this, Kate. Again, if you did miss this episode, this story, it is on our website. And there's also going to be a Target 7 Plus special that's going to air on Friday as well. And it's just a compilation, if you will, of the Target 7 reports that you have been working on, Mitch, Joe, and Austin, right?
Yeah, this is a collaboration of kind of 4 of the Target 7s you have seen over the last several weeks. We've had more that we've aired, but we've kind of boiled it down to that, so it's a little bit more bite-sized and manageable for people. And it has this real theme through it when it comes to family safety and protecting our children. So one of the topics we talk about is this Target 7 special about infant mortality, but we also talk about the challenges of finding childcare in our hometowns. Austin's story about sextortion, which is a scam that is targeting teens, where they ask, you have these scammers basically soliciting inappropriate photos from teens and then saying, okay, I have these photos, I'm using it as blackmail now to be able to exploit these children, and it's causing deaths by suicide. It's causing a lot of a struggle among teens as well who have fallen victim to this. And then we kind of wrap it up with the conversation about the future of marijuana here in Virginia, and that was a story done by our very own Joe DeShiel.
Yes, we actually talked to him on here on WDBJ 7 Plus about that and previewed that. So yes, a lot of good, interesting stuff that a lot of hard work has gone into. So don't want to miss that. Again, that'll be on Friday. It'll be on our website and on WDBJ 7 Plus. If you're watching on your streaming device, you just go over to recorded live streams and it'll be there. It'll be under Target 7. A lot of places you'll be able to find it. So
Excellent.
looking forward to that. Thank you so much, Kate. And we'll be right back after this quick break. Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in to WDBJ 7 Plus. I'm Michaela Shelton. Hopefully, you're having a good Tuesday so far. I want to go ahead and take a look at some of our top local stories that our reporters have been working really hard on. Some of these include a potential wind farm in Botetourt County. We're also taking a look at the foster care need here in the Roanoke and surrounding areas, and also Lynchburg being a Second Amendment sanctuary city. So take a look.
Jennifer and Park Slater operate a breakfast on their Castle property. The windmills will be directly in their view. They worry about what that will mean for business.
We have people that come from all over the world, literally, to hike, kayak, and to enjoy nature, sort of as a retreat. And with the wind farms coming, we haven't had anybody who has said to us, do you have wind farms so we can come and see?
13 large wind turbines will be built on North Mountain as part of the Rocky Forge Wind Project. The Slaters and others in the county worry about the turbines harming eagles and other wildlife. They say the project hurts Botetourt's natural resources and beauty.
This is why people live out here. We don't live in town or in the cities. We live out here because of these views, and it's just tragic to see it being sort of sold to the highest bidder.
Eric Claunch lives in Eagle Rock and has been opposing the project since before it was approved last year. He says his health was affected by noise called infrasound from an airport he lived near in Fairfax. He says his affliction went away after living in Eagle Rock a few years. Now he's worried it could return.
My primary concern is about noise, particularly infrasound, which you cannot hear, you can only feel. That causes health effects, and I know that I'm sensitive to that.
Infrasound can cause anxiety and restlessness. Apex Clean Energy will operate the wind farm. It says the windmills will not produce enough infrasound to be harmful, and they won't be close enough to any homes for people to feel any effects. All of the energy generated by the project will be purchased by Google. Apex says it has studied the environmental impacts of the project and is mitigating them as best it can. It says the benefits of the project will be significant, including $20 million in tax revenue for the county over the life of the project.
Generating power, which we're not using any less of, obviously, as in Virginia and as a country. So putting that power on the grid, it was going to be a net benefit to everybody by hopefully, keeping prices down. By making sure there's not a shortage of demand.
Apex says road work for the project will conclude by early summer, after which the components to build the turbines will be brought up the mountain. It says the turbines will be running by the end of the year. Time will tell what the full impact on the surrounding area will be. In Botetourt County, Colby Johnson, WDBJ 7.
For children in Roanoke's foster care system, finding a home is harder than ever. It's a waiting game, waiting for a home, for a family. And right now, agencies in Roanoke say too many kids are stuck in that in-between.
Right now, the number of foster homes for teens is pretty low, so it makes those children more difficult to place locally and keep them in our area.
Melissa Cook, who has worked in the foster care industry for over a decade, says agencies are seeing troubling trends.
So a lot of the trends we're seeing is substance abuse by the parents or the caregivers who are caring for the children. We're also seeing an increase in the numbers of children who are signing away their parental rights or going to the courts and asking to be relieved of their parental rights.
It's known as the relief of custody crisis. Parents across all socioeconomic backgrounds voluntarily giving up custody of their teens, often as a last resort. At the same time, there are not enough foster homes.
The lack of homes is really the crisis right now for kids in foster care. It's just there's no place for them to go, and it's not any fault of their own. It's just there's just not homes.
And it's not just in Roanoke. In Lynchburg and across the Commonwealth, children and teens are also spending nights inside social services buildings.
They will often spend the weekend in the Department of Social Services office in that county. They will sleep on a couch, they will sleep on the floor, just with a social worker with them all weekend, which is so disruptive and so challenging for a child to be in those conditions.
Starting in 2019, then Governor Ralph Northam enacted significant gun control legislation in the state. In response, hundreds of counties and cities throughout the Commonwealth decided to become Second Amendment sanctuaries. This meaning municipalities would not put resources into gun control efforts. Councilman Marty Mischens was a member of the Lynchburg City Council when the city voted to become a Second Amendment sanctuary city in 2023.
So it doesn't impact or change what the state laws are, but what we're doing is we're making a firm stand against the unconstitutional overreach that's coming from Richmond right now, where they really are trying to infringe on your rights as a citizen of Virginia and a citizen of the United States to bear arms.
The Virginia General Assembly currently has several gun bills up for review. One of them is the industry liability tax, a proposed 11% tax on guns and ammunition. The tax goes directly to fund gun violence prevention and intervention. Lynchburg's sanctuary status wouldn't impact the state's laws if the bill passes, but they could respond if they feel the bill is unconstitutional.
So we really need to see what they come up with, and then maybe the solution is that if it's something really egregious, then we need to look at partnering in with some folks to sue the state government to get these laws overturned, and that could be an option as well.
The Lynchburg City Democrats sent us a statement on the decision to remain a Second Amendment sanctuary city, saying, quote, "It seems to be an expression of opinion and political posturing, but has no legal standing. We choose to spend our time and efforts on issues that impact the lives of our families, friends, and neighbors." In Lynchburg, Austin Hicks, WDBJ 7.
All right, thank you so much for watching WDBJ 7 Plus. That was a look at some of our top local stories that we've been working on. And if you missed the beginning of this show, I spoke with Kate Capodanno about her Target 7 report about infancy mortality rates here in the area. Really, really important, significant data that she looked into there, and some shocking results as well. And if you missed that, that is on our website. Just go to Target 7. They're also doing a big Target 7 special show that's going to air on Friday, and it's going to recap all of their stories that they've been working on. Mitch and Austin and Joe and Kate, all of our reporters have been putting a lot of work into these investigative stories. And so again, that will run on Friday, and you can find that on our website as well and on WDBJ 7 Plus. If you're watching on your streaming device, you can just go over to recorded live streams, and then if you're on our website, it's under the WDBJ 7 Plus category. So yeah, we hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday, and make sure to tune in to our 3, 4, 5, and 6 newscasts. We will see you later.